I want to bring in Ohio Democratic Congresswoman Joyce Beatty. She is also on the National Advisory Board for the Harris campaign. Congresswoman, thank you for being here.
Thank you so much for having me.
In a recent New York Times Siena College poll, 31% of registered voters said they need to learn more about Harris. What do you think she needs to do tonight to show who she is?
Well, first of all, tonight she will make a great appearance because she'll talk to the American people. She understands that we're putting people over politics. You're going to hear about an economy opportunity. You're going to hear her talk clearly about making sure that people understand there's two different visions. You have the vision of Donald Trump, who created a lot of mess. Vice President Harris has said to clean up that mess, whether it's on jobs or the economy or child care or health care or education. They've done more for the American people with this administration, which she has been a clear part of. Let's talk about health care, the cap on insulin at $35 a month. Let's talk about the lowest unemployment rate that we've had. Let's talk about funding public education and HBCUs. So she will talk directly to the American people about the issues and the platform she has. Conversely, Trump and J.D. Vance have insulted women, whether it's the cat statement about women who didn't birth children. Remember, more women vote and have voted than ever. We have Republicans who are coming out for Kamala Harris. We even have polling data that talks about Trump should stick to the truth. What does that mean? He lies. He says discriminatory things. He's wrong on most of the issues, and he doesn't answer the questions. She will speak to the American people. She's ready. She's a prosecutor. She'll be forthright, and people will receive her well.
Congresswoman, that said, you had mentioned some of the misinformation that Trump can sometimes delve into. History has shown us. It is widely believed that the format and the rules of tonight, the fact that mics will be muted, could be a disadvantage to Harris. We know Harris wanted an unmuting of the mics. She wanted to personally cross-examine Trump, if you will. How has she had to switch up her strategy?
I think one of the things she'll find out, she's a scholar. Conversely, he's not. She'll be well prepared for it. And here's the thing. While they may mute the mics, we will still see his dramatic reactions. We'll see his lips moving. We'll see him being disrespectful and rude. And I think that will work well for her. And here's the other thing. She'll answer the questions. As we saw in the last debate, Trump never answered the questions. He'll talk about what he wants to talk about, and the American people are on to that. So again, she will fare well because she's talented, she's bright. She serves as the vice president now in an era of time in this administration that we've done more for the American people than Trump ever did during his administration.
Congresswoman, you represent Ohio, and up until this election cycle, Ohio was regarded as a battleground state. Trump won it in 2020 by 8 points. It has since been considered red. Are there concerns other battleground states could experience the same shift? And how comfortable are you right now with down ballot races?
Well, I think down ballot races are important, certainly. But let's look at where we are now with Vice President Harris being on the ticket. We've seen an uptick, even in the battleground states. We've also seen it with other candidates who are on the ballot. I think the House is well positioned with the leadership of Hakeem Jeffries and the platform that the Vice President has given us. We've seen more energy and synergy, more people wanting to come out and vote. And that is the key. American people are tired, and they also know that Trump will take us backwards. He'll take us back to the Jim Crow era. He will also weaponize the American government over the American people. And that's a very dangerous position to be in. He's anti-women. He's anti-women's rights. He's anti our freedoms. And so I think the American people will see that Vice President Harris will be our best opportunity to move forward, to save our democracy, and to protect our Constitution.
Congresswoman, that's all the time we have today. Thank you very much.